This is the second in my series about getting my two-wheel license in Japan from scratch. The first video is a must-watch. The first thing you do after you enroll is take a kind of test that is meant to assess your personality. This was really hard for me since I had to understand the questions in Japanese as well as answer them. I felt like I didn't have enough time for a lot of them. The test was a mix of different types of questions. For example, you had to find certain shapes from a set of about 50 that all looked very similar, or choose the correct option to complete the other half of a shape. I had no idea what to do for some of the number questions. There were also some Rorschach tests, picture codes, and one where you had to say if you like a shape or not. There was another where you had to write the letter A in different sizes until told to stop. It was pretty weird, and I can imagine this kind of thing being really popular in the 60s. The text questions gave you 50 statements unrelated to driving and asked you to agree or disagree. I remember one was about if you sometimes think people are talking about you behind your back. There were also 15 similar questions about driving. Things like if you would go over the speed limit in certain situations. After a short wait, we got our results, and unsurprisingly I did pretty bad. The results are split into 16 areas, and you get a grade from A to E for each one. Things like carefulness, perception, and decision making are in one section. Physical health, mental health, and social maturity are in another. There's one more section that covers emotional instability, impulsiveness, selfishness, nervousness, vanity, and driving manners. My results showed this kind of pattern, with low scores for the first section and higher scores for the second two. It's hard not to get discouraged this early on, but I tried to look at it as a way to improve whether or not I believed the test was an accurate way to predict how someone would drive. There's a section at the bottom of the results that kind of explains them. When I read it, I was quite surprised. The first few lines were sadly accurate. Careful, patient, and serious with common sense. That's me! Kind of. But sometimes the tendency to overthink. Sometimes you suddenly lose your temper. This is a major cause of accidents. You're often said to be sociable, but with delicate nerves. Spookily accurate. Small failures lead you to blame yourself. Okay, this is creepy. Let's try to drive calmly. Right. It then gives you some guidance about what you might try to work on when you're driving. We'd return to analyze the results later on in one of the classroom sessions where they give us a booklet with more detailed info on how certain character traits can manifest out on the road. There have been a lot of reports recently in Japan about road rage and accidents. Maybe if people take this kind of advice to heart, those kind of incidents might be less common. The booklet also talks about the kinds of accidents that might happen and what you can do in terms of anticipating things. So even if I'm not sure how the test can do what it claims to do, I think it was really helpful for me to look at driving from a different angle. And I did think about those things during my time on the bike and when I'd commute on my road bike. And I think it had a positive effect. I think anyone who thinks they don't need to learn this stuff is kidding themselves. So what do you think about all this? Is it as bonkers as crystal healing, rebirthing, and urine health tonics? Or does it have a merit for new riders and drivers? Let me know in the comments.